To the Lassard Project's Lunch and Learn. My
Good.
name is Madeline Estes, and today we will be exploring the evidence-based practice of scripting. Lassard is part of the Human Development Center at LSU Health New Orleans. The Human Development Center is the UCED, or University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities for Louisiana. HDC serves as a resource to people with disabilities, families, service providers, educators, and policymakers. From individuals to systems, HDC builds capacity and inspires change throughout the life cycle to ensure that people with disabilities are able to participate fully in all aspects of community life. HDC has initiatives from birth to adulthood. Who are we? Lassard partners with school districts, systems, networks, and other individual schools to build their capacity to serve students with disabilities. We do this through team action planning, providing direct training, and coaching in classrooms. We provide educators with evidence-based strategies to improve the academic, social, behavior, and emotional outcomes of students with disabilities. We're a multidisciplinary team comprised of special educators, BCBAs, occupational therapists, school psychologists, educational therapists, school administrators, speech language pathologist, early interventionist, and licensed professional counselor. You can visit our website to access a variety of free resources. Just click under the online resource button to explore free supports for behavior, communication, home and school environments, and social domains. You can also stay up to date with our latest news and get more information about the services we provide. By the end of this Lunch and Learn, participants will understand the importance of scripts in aiding communication, plan for scripting, and grasp the steps needed to implement and evaluate scripting. So what is scripting? Scripting is an evidence-based practice that provides support in the form of words and or pictures for an individual to model appropriate communication and guides interaction with and responding to an appropriate communication partner. A script, like it sounds, provides an individual with a script for what to say when engaging with a communication partner. The script can include comments, questions, or statements, along with pictures or icons to further understand. So why should we use scripting? Social communication can be impacted by variations in expressive and receptive language. Scripting can be an effective tool for individuals with disabilities because it provides a concrete outline and plan for communicating with others. Scripts provide a structured framework that can increase comprehension and decrease anxiety around situations in which communication is necessary and important. A script is an effective tool that provides an individual with predetermined cues and responses to help them feel more comfortable in social situations. Many individuals with disabilities respond well to visual cues and structure. A script utilizes those strengths to help facilitate social communication and interaction. Scripts are a useful tool that provides individuals with an opportunity to participate and express themselves. Teaching and promoting communication across social situations can be a complex task. Scripts provide a first step to achieving accessible communication for all individuals. Additionally, scripts can be low cost and easily made. So what does scripting look like? A script may provide specific questions or statements used to further a communicative exchange. Scripts come in a wide variety of formats. Depending on the language of the learner, scripts can include both written words and pictures or words alone. A script could be as brief as a single word or may include several full-length sentences. These are all examples of scripts. On the left, you see a simple phrase that helps an individual communicate basic wants and needs using text and pictures. In the middle is a series of handwritten note cards that script phrases to increase interactions with a peer. On the right are more lengthy sentences that script out phrases that can be used when seeking help. Each example is different, but all function as a script that you can utilize. Today, we're going to detail the steps it takes to successfully utilize scripting. A successful scripting intervention relies on planning, implementation, and evaluation. Start the planning process by making sure that you have identified the target behavior that you want to work on. Some examples of goals that can be addressed using scripting include initiating with peers and others, describing a problem and requesting assistance, gaining attention, making comments and asking questions relevant to a setting or activity, and conversational speech. Use observable and measurable language to define the target behaviors you want to work on. Also, identify the environment and situations in which you want the target behavior to occur and how a script can get you there. During this part of planning, consider the situations and scenarios that would be most supported with a script. Consider times of the day that you find yourself repeatedly prompting a student, or parts of the day that will provide the individual with more autonomy in social situations. You can also use a script to provide them with the opportunity to share important information about themselves. This could be relevant for show and tell, or student of the week, or during meal times. Ask yourself, how will I know when the script is mastered? And what does mastery look like? At the outset, it's important to consider what mastery looks like for this student. Is the goal to engage with a peer using a script without any prompting? Is the goal for them to engage with a communication partner without any supports at all? It's helpful to define your mastery criteria at the outset of planning. After outlining the target skill you want to work on, it's important to consider the necessary prerequisite skills for scripting. In order to utilize a script effectively, the individual should be able to imitate verbal information and/or motor movements. Imitation is a necessary part of teaching the script and should be considered before proceeding. Imitation is used when teaching the script, whether it's reading the script or repeating what is read to them. Consider the receptive skills of the individual. How much do they understand when you typically speak to them? And the expressive skills that the individual has. How do they express their wants and needs typically to you? The script should be reflective of their skill level so that it can be accessible to them. It wouldn't be as effective to use a script with lengthy, complex sentences when a student only uses 1 to 2 word phrases. Ensure that the script length also matches the skills of the individual you're working with. It can also be beneficial to possess some reading skills. Now that we have some insight into the type and length of the script, the next step is to create the script itself. The script should be designed with the goal of encouraging and promoting appropriate interactions with others. Sometimes scripts include lines or cues for both the communication partner and the learner, and other times they may only include lines or cues for the
Basic
learner.
review. I'm
Consider
trying to
how
answer this.
the script should be constructed. We know that the learners we work with are visual learners. Scripts can be further supported by the use of pictures and icons. Scripts can also be created simply by writing a desired language output on a piece of paper or a note card, searching for images on the internet, or just creating a simple line drawing to provide the picture cues that are needed. These are two examples of scripts. The script on the left provides the student with some scripted phrases to ask for help, communicate the end of an activity, and to initiate a play interaction with a peer. The script on the right is an example of a script used to help an individual greet a peer and exchange pleasantries. This script provides an explanation of each exchange and highlights phrases in yellow that the individual will say. As you continue to plan, think through the following elements to ensure that the script is rolled out smoothly. Consider using other evidence-based practices to help set up the script for success. It's important to use reinforcement and identify what might be a potential reinforcer for the student. You can do this by conducting a preference assessment. Reinforcement could be delivered in the form of a token board, sticker chart, or it could be verbal praise. For some individuals, the successful interaction with a peer could be a natural form of reinforcement. If a script is providing the individual with access to naturally motivating activities, like getting a turn with a highly preferred toy from a peer, they'll be more motivated to participate in the script. Also, consider the schedule of reinforcement. Will reinforcement be delivered after each appropriate response or after a whole interaction? To aid in efficient learning, provide reinforcement right away when initially teaching the script. Consider visual supports that might be needed to enhance the script. Is there a certain time of the day that you want to use the script? If so, you can utilize a visual schedule to help communicate this. Organize your materials. Making script-specific materials and gathering other supporting materials like toys or visual timers that help support the interaction will set you up for success. If the learner is supposed to engage for a certain amount of time, using a timer can provide the learner with a visual representation of the expectation. And finally, ensure that prerequisite skills necessary for the script have been taught prior to instruction. Prerequisite skills for scripting could include reviewing specific vocabulary needed for the script or other necessary social communicative skills like gaining another person's attention or orienting towards a communication partner. The final step in planning should be to identify a communication partner. When you are identifying a communication partner, it's important to remember any people interacting with the learner need to understand what to expect in advance. When training the communication partner, they will need to be familiar with the script and anticipated responses. They might also need to understand any communication differences that the learner might display.
Oh no, sorry.
Now that we've planned and prepared the script, the next step is to teach and implement it. You can introduce the script to the student and tell them what context you're using it. It can be beneficial to model the script, exchange, and role play with you as the communication partner first. You can help facilitate an exchange by using prompting. There are a wide variety of prompts, ranging from most intrusive to least intrusive. The level of prompting will depend on the student, but remember to always work towards least intrusive prompting because that encourages the most independence. These are some examples of how you might use prompting to teach the script, moving from most intrusive at the top to lesser intrusive prompts as you move down. An example of a partial physical prompt could be prompting the learner at the elbow or arm to pick up the script. A model prompt could be demonstrating the use of the script. An example of a gestural prompt might be pointing towards the words in the script. And verbal prompting is telling the learner to use the script. Finally, when the student uses the script appropriately, reinforce them by providing them with praise or other known reinforcing items or activities or tokens. If we want them to continue to use it, we have to reinforce their behavior. Once you've modeled and prompted the script, you want to implement it with the targeted communication partner. You may have to use more prompting when you introduce a novel communication partner, and that's okay. It can be helpful to hold the script behind the communication partner so that the partner is in the foreground of the student, which creates a more natural communication exchange. Continue to utilize reinforcement when they are using the script appropriately with a novel partner. If the student is using the script with a partner with some prompting, the next step would be to fade those prompts. Independence is the goal. Fading your prompts over time helps the student develop the skills that they need to utilize the script on their own. Looking again at the prompting hierarchy that you use to teach the script, when fading, move towards lesser intrusive prompting until they're independent. After the prompts have been faded, you can start to fade the script itself. In this example, the script is faded by removing words in each successive version of the script. By the final version, the student is generating the responses without reading each response on the paper. The last step of implementation is to plan for generalization. Remember, the goal is always independence. Once the individual is using the script effectively, we want to make sure that the script is generalized to different people and settings. You can generalize the script by utilizing it with multiple people that the child typically interacts with, and by bringing it to multiple environments that the child is in. Another way to generalize the script is to vary the language. For example, how are you, what's up, and how are you feeling today are all ways to ask someone how they're doing. Varying the language in a script can provide the individual with the opportunity to generalize their responses to different questions that convey the same meaning. Our final step in effective scripting intervention is to evaluate the progress. The best way to evaluate the success of a script is to take the data. These are some examples of data sheets that can aid you in data collection. On the left is an example of a data sheet you could use to collect data on the script. There's a section of the script box that allows you to add the specific part of the script that you're taking data on, as well as boxes for how the learner responded, the prompts that were needed, and the communication partner used in the exchange. The other data sheet on the right is an example of turning the script itself into a data sheet. That way you can take data on each step using the script as a guide. After collecting the data for the script, it's important to engage in ongoing progress monitoring. What is the data telling us? Is the script working? It's important to collect your data and graph it to get a clear picture of how the student is responding. What is the data path telling us? Is the student using the script consistently with one peer but not all peers? If the learner is effectively using the script in one context but not another, it may need to be retaught and then subsequently faded in the new setting. This is an example of a checklist for yourself that highlights the steps necessary for successful implementation of scripting from beginning to end. This can be a helpful tool to use while planning, implementing, and evaluating the script. Here are a few considerations and barriers to progress. If your student is independent with the faded script, you can fade the script entirely and collect data on unscripted and appropriate responses. Additionally, if the student has made a lot of progress using a script, now you know that scripting can be utilized as an effective intervention to teach more skills to this student. If your student is not making progress with the script or making inconsistent progress with the script, it could be important to ask yourself if appropriate and motivating reinforcers were identified to teach the script, and also if the language level in the script is appropriate for the learner. Consider also any prerequisite skills that might be missing and target those first. These are a few examples of scripts that provide comments and questions relevant to a setting or activity, like a Mardi Gras parade or a class Valentine's celebration. These examples highlight how simple and straightforward a script can be and how easy they can be made for a variety of different activities. Here are a few more examples of scripts. The script on the left shows how you can effectively communicate when you agree or disagree with someone. The script also provides visuals to nod or shake your head to communicate if you agree or not, which provides a gestural option for communication. The script on the right provides some basic sentence stems that can be incorporated into a variety of activities and domains. Having a script like this laminated and available to the student can be a great way to help them engage in communication in a more independent way. Now you have the tools needed to implement a successful scripting intervention in your setting. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat box. If you think of any questions later,